Hello and welcome to Cheshire Audio. Now this is a bit of a fuse update. You probably remember a while ago I did a tweakery video on fuses, and like I said, I don't read the comments, but apparently there was a lot of controversy in the comments about it. I must admit, I find it a bit of a shame because it's one of those things. It shouldn't make a difference, and to be fair, in the past I've played with fuses and things like that, and always was very underwhelmed by them. And I think I mentioned this in the last video actually, but the first brand of fuse I came across that actually did make a viable difference was Furatech, but they were quite quickly taken off the market because they didn't pass certain, I can't remember the reasons for it now, they didn't pass certain regulations or whatever, so they were pulled from the UK market. But they work quite well. But pretty much everything else I'd tried was a very subtle deviation, and it wasn't necessarily, sometimes it was thinking it's perhaps in my head, you know, the gold-plated this and whatever type fuses. And quite often just a really good, you know, Marbo or whatever's the other brand of fuse that's, you know, just a decent quality standard fuse was fine. Make sure everything's clean, you know, that sort of thing. That was all you needed to do. But I was kind of persuaded to try Synergistic, and the first £40 fuse, which seemed a crazy amount of money for a fuse at the time, was astonishingly good, and it did things that you just wouldn't expect. It sort of made things more dynamic when all these sort of things going on. And interestingly, the reason for the video is I did talk about, because basically there's been a progression. We went £40, £60, £90, £130. Every time a new version came up, it seems to escalate the price. They still continued with the lower models, but as soon as a new version came out, that's all anybody wanted. The last new version was the Master Fuse, which is £600, and I got to the point of thinking, no, I think they might be cashing in now. This might be the point where they've realised they're onto a good thing and they think they can charge what they like. So I wouldn't say I ignored it. I just sort of thought, well, I don't know about this, or I'd need to hear it. Because all the other previous incarnations, I sort of thought, well, it's going to be better because it's been better every time, so let's just go with it. But this big jump in cost, I thought, no, that's a bit silly. But interestingly, the guy who I did the very first demonstration of synergistic fuses to, who has a name reference, well, it's actually a reference system, now I don't think it was then, with Kudos Titan 808s, so it's a quite high-end setup. Because he's basically progressed through all the different fuses. A new version comes, he just updates to the new versions. And he came in and said, I'll just try one of these master fuses. He said, if it's no better, it's just an experiment, let's just see. And I was thinking, experiment, £600, that's nuts. But anyway, he bought one. And took it home and tried it. And then he didn't comment, he said, the results are very interesting. I need some new speaker cable as well, so can you sort out some speaker cable for me to try? And if you want to come over and hear the fuse. And I thought, because he's very dry, he doesn't let you know anything at all when he talks to you. So I thought this could go either way. This could be that it's the biggest mistake he's ever made, or he didn't really let on. So anyway, I went up with speaker cable, spent an evening there till 1 in the morning, eating biscuits, which was pretty good actually. Good biscuits. And he put the system on without any of the upgrades, so he didn't have the fuse in, didn't have the new speaker cable. Well, we didn't try the new speaker cable straight away, but I'm getting the story wrong actually. No, the cable went to him before I didn't take it. It doesn't really matter this actually, I don't know why I'm telling you this. The manufacturer sent him the cable while I was on holiday, and he was running it in. That was it, yeah, sorry. It was only literally yesterday, and I can't remember what happened. 24 hours is a blur. Yeah, he'd run the cable in, and when I got there, he'd taken everything out and said, look, well, I just want you to hear the difference, you know, what difference is or not, as the case may be. So we played the system, and it's a great sounding setup up there. It's in like a little loft space, and quite a big space, but it's, you know, specifically just set up for the hi-fi system. And it sounds good. It's a great sound. It's very, very clean and clear and clinical, and everything's in its place and whatever. And you sort of listen to it and think, well, you can't really improve on this particularly. It's a good setup, and it's, you know, makes all recordings sound sound listenable and nice, and gives you the feel of the music from it. I mean, he's actually using CD he's used 555 name as a source. He experimented with streaming and hard drives and all that sort of thing, and kind of ditched it really. I don't think he uses it now. He's gone back to his CDs because it was always the better results really. Just stick that in. So anyway, listen to it. It sounded as I remember it. And then he just puts the fuse in. And what we did was put the fuse. It's got pretty much a single mains plug that goes into the wall that feeds everything. So that it comes off under distribution and that separates out into everything else. Just put the one master fuse into the wall in the first mains plug that comes in, and he just sat there with a straight face like that, sort of, as he puts the first track on. And about 20 seconds in, and I was sat there thinking, I don't actually understand how this is happening. I thought, has he put a remastered version on? What's he done here? And I'd looked at him, and this smirk was building on his face. He said, "You don't believe it, do you?" I said, "No, actually, I don't. This is incredible. You've not done something." "No," he said, "that's the same CD." He said, "Look, let's do it again." Put a CD on. And it was a bit like if, I know how you sort of think how a remastered version of an album should sound. I mean, they don't always. Sometimes they mess them up. But if you imagine having an album and then a remastered version of it that should be cleaner and more involving, and more information on there altogether, that's what it sounded like. It was a complete clearing up of the sound. I thought actually it sounded very much like it was running with a bigger power amp, something with a lot more current that was actually controlling the speakers a lot better, and they were stopping faster, and the actual performance was more live. It sounded more like a band stood in front of you than it did a recording of. I mean, his systems are good at that anyway, so it was quite surprising that there was such a jump in that respect. So yes, I can safely say the Master Fuse is easily worth the money. And the interesting thing was, because I took the speaker cable as well, and he'd got the speaker cable, and I went to listen to the speaker cable, and why can't I remember things from so? I think it's early onset something. Can't even remember what it's called. He had the speaker cable which he'd run in, and afterwards sort of had a few backwards and forwards with the fuse. He said, let's put the speaker cable in. He put that in, and yes, that was amazing. That was absolutely amazing. Atlas Aron, which is a new version. Years ago, I'd done a demonstration of him with Atlas Mavros, which was their top copper-based cable, and also had a length of Atlas Asimi, which was their top cable, which is solid silver. And the Asimi was obviously better, but the price was about 5 times. It was something ridiculous, like 5 times the price, because he needs 2 7-metre lengths. It's long lengths. And the Aron is a cable that goes between Mavros and Asimi. I think it's still copper-based. I need to look that up. I'm pretty sure it's still copper, but a much broader cross section. And there's all sorts of stuff they've done to their cables over the years and improved them all. And they said that the new Aron was better than the original Asimi. And it was a big jump from his Mavros to this Aron cable. I mean, it's the price of a small family car, really. Well, a cheap brand new family car, the price of this cable, because he needs so much of it. Again, it did the same thing. It made the band sound more in the room, and it sort of opened everything out and all this sort of thing. And afterwards, he was saying that cable's amazing, isn't it? He said, but the fuse, which is interesting considering the price of the fuse as an absolute tiny fraction of the price of the speaker cable. He bought the speaker cable, he was really, really pleased with it, but the fuse, in that sort of combination, in that sort of situation, listening to it against other things, was really good value. Now that sounds bonkers, but when you think of it in context, it's ridiculously good value. It shouldn't work. I don't know why it does work. I have no idea why it works. I did have a conversation with the guy who used to do repairs for me, who is ridiculously bright. He's a nuclear physicist, and he does contracts for British Nuclear, whatever. And he was saying, well, actually, there is a sort of logic behind what they're talking about. There is a possibility that what they're talking about could create the effect they're suggesting. Can't even remember, it went completely over my head. do his sort of resonance within the whatever, and the he's very into the fact it was quantum tunneling. But anyway, yeah. But I must admit, I have a tendency with hi-fi not to try and justify why things do things. I just listen to it and see if it does. And if it does do it, then that's enough for me. And I think the problem with a lot of people is that they look at it and say, well, that shouldn't do it. That's stupid. That's a rip-off. That's this. That's that. You should just listen to it. And if it works for you, it works, doesn't it, really? Anyway, yeah, you can tell I'm completely out of it. I'm not used to staying up till 1 in the morning. The trouble was I got home and then I couldn't get to sleep. It's like fuses. Like that. So, yeah, so I didn't really sleep very well. Came in early. Had a demonstration first thing this morning. And, yeah, be glad to have a weekend now, I think, really. So anyway, I know some of you will hate this video because, yeah, the fuses thing is very controversial. Just try it and see. I mean, that's the only thing you can say, isn't it, really? Just try it. Don't forget to give a subscribe and a like. I'm going to have a little sleep now because I'm absolutely shattered. I'll see you in a future video.